It's a passion he developed as a kid.
When I was in the 6th grade, I started reselling clothes online on eBay. I needed to get a little extra cash to take the friends and the girls out to the movies, go to the malls. Kind of progressed from there, just started selling sneakers in high school and college. Started selling jerseys, vintage, sneakers, hats. Now I'll pretty much sell anything.
Jake says thrifting gave him a sense of style and a way to express himself.
My favorite part? Finding stuff by far. Oh, it's the best. It's like it's like modern day like treasure hunting. Like I get to treasure hunt every single day and get to dig for stuff. It's awesome.
The items he hunts for the most is Denver Nuggets gear.
Like my heart gets going, I get fired up at the thrift, at the flea market. Just anytime I find Nugget stuff, it's pretty much the only stuff that I truly hoard.
Jake has hundreds of Nuggets jerseys from every single era.
So you got the really old school, classic. Then you got like the 90s Nugs. First time Chauncey was in Denver. And then you kind of go into like the mellow era. Iverson. I think that just all started from my love of basketball and then my love of watching the Nuggets with my dad and my brother downstairs in our basement, just getting fired up for games, watching, all the OG Nuggets, like the 08-09 team.
Yeah. Seeing his home state make their first NBA Finals appearance has been a dream come true. And nice for business, too.
It's definitely helped business because whenever the team's good, people want that kind of stuff. So yes, people have been hitting me up like nonstop for Nugget stuff, and it's expensive.
Well, it's safe to say business is booming for notorious VTG. He says he will be at Game 5 in Denver, and well, he might just witness history as the Nuggets have a chance to win it all at home on Monday. Mike? Or Rob?
Oh, it's okay. You're just dazzled by that guy. Obviously he has enough money to pay for a ticket, probably courtside at Ball Arena. Wow, what a great collection. All right. I digress. Let's head outside, get a check on your Friday night weather with a look from our weather cameras in Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Here's meteorologist Alex O'Brien in for that aforementioned Mike.
That Mike
Alex.
Guy. So today we were at 78 in Colorado Springs after starting the day at 53. We started at 66 in Pueblo, rose to 84. We reached a high of 84 in Pueblo today, and right now in Miami, it's midnight. And it's 82 degrees there, so Denver fans in Miami are going to have a nice warm night to celebrate. Meanwhile, it's 63 degrees in Colorado Springs right now. Across the region, we are in mostly the 50s and 60s. Still a mild evening for us so far. We are looking forward to our temperatures falling into the 50s for most of us tonight. Outside right now in La Junta, 62 degrees. We've got some high humidity. Canyon City also pretty humid, 61 degrees at this hour. And then by tonight, we will fall into the low 50s. We'll watch for some clouds to wake up on Saturday morning, but in general, we are in for another really beautiful start to the day. Sunshine, 70s and 80s once again. But a cold front is on the way, and I will time that out when it arrives this weekend coming up. Rob?
Alex, thank you. The LGBTQ plus community is coming together this weekend to celebrate Pride in Colorado Springs. It's the first Pride Fest in the city since the shooting at Club Q last November. 15,000 people expected to descend downtown for the Pikes Peak Pride Festival. Sunday is the parade. That starts at 11 in the morning. That's at Acacia Park to begin with, makes its way down along Tejon, ends up at the Pioneers Museum. Now, we're told the weekend is about reuniting the LGBTQ plus community after the tragedy at Club Q. Now, during the Pride Parade on Sunday, there will be a moment of silence at 11:56, recognizing the time the first 911 call came in the night of November 19th.
Not necessarily just remember, but also mourn, and just have a space where we can recognize the tragedy that happens and just kind of create a moment of healing for our community.
Now, the Pride Parade will also be the first during Pride Month. Now, it's usually held in July. Some downtown Colorado Springs businesses, they're putting up Pride flags to help create a welcoming environment for everyone. Well, Icons, the only other LGBTQ plus bar in Colorado Springs, preparing for a weekend of celebration and reflection as well. News 5's Maggie Bryan in studio. You spoke with the co-owners today about their emotions going into this weekend.
Yeah, Rob, the bar owners tell me they celebrate Pride all year long. We talked about what the past 6 months have been like for them, their employees, and the community as a whole. Entertaining comes easy at Icons in downtown Colorado Springs.
You get that, I'll sing.
The co-owners of the bar say their space exists to give people an escape.
It's really difficult to be upset when you walk through the store.
The two are busy preparing
What do you need? Nails?
for a weekend full of pride.
That's our business and our livelihood and our life all year long.
They say this year's event has a different tone. It's the first Pride since the shooting at Club Q.
I hesitate to say that we're like back to normal because we never will be. It's a new normal for sure.
There's a lot of memories tied to, our friends who are passed.
Dealing with the emotions as they come in waves.
The trauma comes when it comes to the surface and you deal with it.
It will be different because it's a new perspective. It changed all of us, so we have different hearts now. So
Immediately after the shooting, they closed their bar but opened up just one day later. They say they recognized their responsibility to give people a space to gather and mourn.
The initial weeks after the shooting, that was really challenging because we wanted to grieve and we did. We provided that space for people to grieve.
Their next priority, adding more security measures.
I couldn't sleep for 5 months until we got the glass replaced.
The bar now has bullet-resistant glass near the stage, a new patio with better security, and a different entrance system.
For us, it was very much like, how am I going to make my employees comfortable coming to work again?
All of this prep work, they say, is providing them peace of mind going into Pride weekend.
We want this to be such a special weekend for our community that the worries, even though they might be in the back of your head, that's not our focus.
The focus, worrying less.
you want to make like a chandelier this.
Only if I can swing from it.
And celebrating more.
I know where we've come from and how far we've come. Yes, we have a long way to go, but I have a lot of pride in where we are at this moment.
Icons is hosting several events leading up to the Pride Festival parade on Sunday. You can find a list of those and other Pride activities in Colorado Springs over on our website at KOAA.com. Rob.
Maggie, thanks. To other headlines now. The CBI and the Custer County Sheriff investigating a claim that Good Times actor John Amos has been the victim of elder abuse. Now, the claim allegedly comes from his daughter. Now, Amos has lived in Westcliff for the past 3 years. Right now, authorities confirmed Amos is in a Tennessee hospital receiving treatment. However, very little information coming from law enforcement about the level of alleged abuse and by whom. Several tabloids have claimed Amos is denying his daughter's claim. Well, passengers from a Frontier Airlines flight that got diverted to Colorado Springs Airport say the airline just abandoned them here with no options to get to their intended destination, Denver. This afternoon, the airlines actually offered finally a couple $100 of compensation, but passengers say what happened is not acceptable. Bill Folsom looks into what happened.
Storms, hail, and lightning.
They ended up saying they were going to Colorado Springs. 30 or 40 minutes later, we landed.
Violent weather in Denver forcing the passengers from a Frontier flight to land in Colorado Springs. Close to a half dozen other planes did the same. The other airlines either got passengers to DIA or got them places to stay overnight.
They said they timed out, the pilots timed out.
No transportation being provided.
The Frontier crew had passed FAA rules for the amount of time they're allowed to fly. The passenger rights rule says you can't keep people on a parked plane more than 3 hours. It also kicked in.
The captain came on and said that they were going to start taking people off and that there was nowhere to put them, nowhere to go. And so basically they escorted us through the tarmac, and we were standing in a parking lot for an hour.
They're just saying, contact info at reservations at Frontier. Like they're just giving an email, not even a number to call. So it's ridiculous.
When an airline does not operate out of the main airport and they make an unscheduled stop here in Colorado Springs, the standard is to come here to the Jet Center. There are some airlines that have a contract for those contingencies. In this case, there was no agreement. Frontier ended service to Colorado Springs a few months back. The airport had no obligation, but did scramble a shuttle to get passengers to the main airport.
It makes travel affordable to a lot of us, and we love to travel.
This traveler flies Frontier often, knowing there are issues that come with a budget airline. In this case, she has questions about passenger rights.
Leaving a plane load of people on a tarmac at 3 o'clock in the morning and kind of letting them fend for themselves. That's not right.
Frontier sent a statement later in the day saying they're giving passengers a $100 flight voucher and another $100 voucher for travel from Colorado Springs to Denver. A check of the Uber and Lyft app shows an estimate for getting from Colorado Springs up to DIA anywhere from $115 up to $180. We also spoke with rideshare drivers. They say you could probably get closer to that $100 in the middle of the night. They also say you're not going to have very much luck finding a driver. Passengers say more needs to happen to hold the airline accountable. In Colorado Springs, Bill Folsom, News 5.
And Colorado severe weather shows why agreements for unplanned landings are very important now. This spring, the airport tells us they have had 255 flights diverted from Denver so far this year. At this time last year, they had just 100. Well, a group of veterans, active duty military, and civilian volunteers right now in the middle of an 18-hour, 50-mile ruck march through Colorado Springs. 50 for the Fallen raises money to support our veterans' mental health programs. Began during the pandemic when founder Chad Conley, an active duty Green Beret, held a Memorial Day ruck march with friends. That turned into a fundraiser and is now an official nonprofit.
I like to say we find our why, and that's getting thrown out a lot, but what it is for us is you took this time away to reconnect with yourself and find out what's going on within you. And around mile 30-something, the ego goes away and you're really going to be able to break down and say, this is what I'm going through, and these people around me, they're here to help me carry the load.
Now, the group started the ruck, as it's called, military term, at noon in Palmer Lake. They plan to finish at Fort Carson about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Alex?
Well, we are in for a nice start to the weekend, but more cool and showery and cloudy weather returns with a cold front on the way. I'm going to track that for you to help you plan your weekend coming up next.
And now, your First Alert 5 weather.